Hey guys, Charlie here. Okay, we are on to Module 3, Housing. So I've broken this down into a couple parts here. It's the biggest module here, and after this it's just kind of downhill. So first we are going to tackle outdoor, and I'm going to go through 1 through 3 commandments here. I'm going to get to that in a second. So I have 10 commandments. I've basically broken housing down into 10 parts here. We have border and housing, number 1. Number 2, space. Number 3, protection. 4, substrate. 5, elevation change. 6, water dish. 7, hiding spot. 8, plants and shrubs. 9, basking spot. 10, temperature and lighting. So for this part, we're going to go over 1 through 3. Border, spacing, and protection. So for the outdoor section, first you need to make sure that you're even eligible to have your horse field outdoors in the first place. Some people live in areas that you just can't do that. So housing outdoors is recommended because they're in their natural element with the natural sunlight, wind, things like that. Natural sunlight provides calcium, better metabolism. You can have larger areas of housing, and you can grow food as well as live plants. If you live in an area with extreme climate, it would be best to house outdoors either part of the year and then bring your pet indoors, or just completely house them indoors all year. Reasons to provide indoor housing includes excessive rain, wind, or extreme temperatures. So if you live in an area like that, it's best to have it be a controlled area indoors. Horse fields are used to large temperature changes in nature and can handle many different temperatures. In the winter, they can be in any temperature above freezing, 0 Celsius, which is 32 Fahrenheit. The hottest temperature they can handle in the summer is 40.5 Celsius, which is 105 Fahrenheit. If your outdoor climate is within these ranges, then you're able to provide outdoor housing all year for them. The ideal temperature when not in hibernation is 23.9 to 35 Celsius, which is 75 to 95 Fahrenheit. Horse fields are a Mediterranean tortoise, and they don't like excessive moisture. If there's excessive moisture in the air, they can endure respiratory problems, and if there's excessive moisture in the ground and substrate, they can face shell rot at the bottom of their shell. Horse fields are used to many dry and arid conditions, as opposed to tropical tortoises, which can endure humid conditions. So with that being said, you really have to determine if your area outdoors in your backyard is viable for your pet, and if not, no problem, just bring them indoors. So this next section I'm going to be talking about is outdoor housing, commandments 1 through 10. So we're going to start with number 1, which is border and housing. A border height of 40 centimeters, which is about 15 to 16 inches, is good. They can be very talented escape artists. So good materials are concrete block, wood, tennis court fencing, or brick. They're really good at getting out, so you really do have to make it a very solid area with solid materials so they can't get out. They're very good at that. So bricks and block, such as cinder block, cement block, concrete, and red brick work great. Place them several inches below the surface. Make sure that the blocks don't fall down by connecting them with cement. You can also fill cinder blocks with any type that has a gap in between them with dirt or sand, things like that. And with that being said, a couple of things you want to watch out for is anything falling over or just being unstable. Or a lot of times, don't put anything in the corners or next to the fence so that they can sort of shimmy their way up and get over that. Like I said, put it a couple inches below because they do dig, and so they could make a tunnel and dig out. So just be sure and make it real solid. Okay, so the last bullet here is wood is one of the easiest and also cheapest ways because you can place it a few inches deep, hold it up with stakes, and you're done. The drawback is that it can rot and it can keep moisture. It can also soak up and hold and retain water, which produces humidity and is not good for the respiratory systems. That's why you must seal and finish the wood so that it does not take water in and rot. Next slide here for border and housing, we're still on number 1. Tennis court fencing is another excellent option. It'll last the life of your tortoise because of the plastic materials basically, and it has a small opening so baby tortoises cannot fit through that. The only drawback is that the border is see-through, which you can see plastic strips that are made specifically for these fences. Horsefields are also known to wedge themselves between two corners and flip over the other side and dig below the border, kind of like what I talked about here, previous slide. So make sure that there's a solid foundation along the border and impossible for them to dig under that completely and dig a tunnel. You know, they can't dig up enough and then prop themselves under the border. Also, a solid color that they can't see out helps them from walking along the perimeters and trying to go through it. So as opposed to seeing the outside and trying to go through that and banging their head against that, it's not good. It's good to prevent any possible escape below the dirt. Options here: make the borders too heavy for them to wedge their shell in between, so kind of like digging a little bit underneath the border and kind of propping it up there. And this includes concrete block or brick will do the trick for that. Light wood sometimes allows them to escape and can also rot and weaken, so unless it's really connected well, if you're just propping pieces of wood up, they can really pry that out. Second bullet here, again, just bury borders several inches below the surface. And lastly, lay a metal wiring about 7.5 centimeters or 3 inches below the surface throughout the entire pen and fasten securely to the border. So this is another option. You can use metal wiring, basically, things like chicken wire and materials like that. Okay, so now we're on to spacing. This has been a preview of the Horsefield Russian Tortoise training course. If you'd like to continue this training, click the link in the description below this video. And I'll be sending you more free information on the Horsefield Russian Tortoise care, including buying, housing, food, diet, hibernation, breeding, and health. So go ahead and click the link below and I will see you there.